1 Kings chapter 7, we've just been reading of how Solomon spent 6 years building God's house, the temple. But Solomon was building his own house 13 years, nearly twice as long as what he spent on God's house. And then he built the house of the forest of Lebanon, and so on. Solomon went wrong at the end of his life. He lost his faith, and he writes this depressive book, Ecclesiastes. And he looks back at his life and he said, I tried everything, because I had everything. So I tried everything. And he said, I was really into building. I built all sorts of things. I built chariot cities for my horses. I built fantastic palaces. I built this, I built that. I went through that obsession. I really liked the idea of building. Went into that, got out of it. When you read then that he built God's house and made such a grandiose job of it, even though God had said at the start, I don't want this. I want to live in people's hearts, and I'm quite happy living in a tent. I don't actually want what you're doing, Solomon. Anyway, he went ahead with it, and God sort of accepted it. I think the point is that he was serving God just in the ways that were convenient to him. You've got to be careful that you don't just see your service of God as a way of reinforcing your natural personality type, doing what you'd actually quite like to do anyway, even if you weren't an atheist. You know, who wouldn't like to go and preach on the beach in some exotic tropical location, holiday location, a resort? You know, your motives are very mixed, aren't they? If you declare yourself a missionary to some tropical resort island. And yet, in a less dramatic sense, we can all have that same problem. Whereas we are asked by the Lord Jesus to pick up his cross and follow him, following a man on his last walk down that Via Dolorosa, the path to Gethsemane, to Golgotha. We are asked to go into self-crucifixion. We are asked to sacrifice. This is not serving God in ways that just happen to reinforce your own personality, ways that you'd like to do anyway. Like Solomon, I love building. Oh yeah, I built God a house. I'll spend nearly twice as long building my own house and all that. And we can't turn around and say that, oh yeah, that's my service to God. The service to God doesn't come easy. And we've got to surrender ourselves to his will and what he wants to do, and not what we would like to do.